bit. Uh, Camelot Unchained seems to be approaching the problem of needing to bring more, bring something new and something special in a different way. One of the things that they're focusing on is how do you really get thousands of players fighting in one area, and this engine optimization, like we want it to really be massively multiplayer, not quite a few people. They so some of their early tech tests for their crowdfunding, there are a whole lot of character models running around on one screen, and it looks like an awesome battle that I've just never been a part of, and that's pretty that's pretty cool for me. But the success of EverQuest Next to the whole industry, to SOE, I think it's very important that the public opinion of this game is very high. That when you spend your time putting your neck out with open development and with H1Z1 being so Reddit heavy and inviting everyone into the conversation with Smedley and all of these other things that are going on, that SOE needs EQN to be a success, and I think that it will. Everything that I'm hearing says that they're on the right track to make it one, but the industry moves on, and every single person who has worked on this project and everything that's been said, somebody else is working on something similar, and their skills get passed on to some other project that they work on in the future. So just the fact that the game is being attempted is a positive for the whole industry. Whether EverQuest Next is that game that we remember forever as being, hey, remember when it was EverQuest Next and all this was new? Just like we say about EverQuest or Ultima Online or whatever game it was that you look back like, remember then? EverQuest Next has that potential, but just the fact that it's being developed now is game changing for the whole industry. Poro, thoughts? Anything?
So, this is really complicated and hard for me. I've been thinking about it since somebody asked the question about, like, how can we make MMOs fun without it being a grind and stuff, and I think that's what prompted this discussion right now. Yes. And I thought, like, we have to look at each aspect of the game, like each system, and think about, like, what is the most essential and, like, what things can we not get rid of. So if you have an MMO, just inherent in that is that there's, like, possibly thousands of players, and you want them all to have, like, equal opportunities to do things and stuff. So you take the things like that are solid, that are always going to be there, and then everything else, I feel like people are not always asking themselves, like, how can this really be different? They're just taking things from other games and, like, tweaking them slightly, even when people are imagining what kind of game they would want. Because I guess the reason we see that in games that get made is because those people want to make money, so they want to do something that seems reliable, like, okay, people are going to pay for this. But even when I see people thinking about, like, what would the best MMO you could think of be, they still take those same, like, old boring mechanics that just lead to, like, the same pattern of things happening. And it's in their mind, so they can do anything they want, but they still go for that. So that's why I like the whole idea of EverQuest Next so much, because it seems like they did that, where they were like, no, it doesn't actually have to be like this. And I'm interested to see what else they do that with the game. Because, like, right now we have no leveling system, so, like, that's one way. They took progression, they were like, nope, we don't need this level thing, we're going to do it a different way. And, like, rallying calls are a big thing, too.
I just want to jump in really quick to I have been playing a little bit of H1Z1 lately, and I know it's like totally different game and all that, and I know Diggs, you hate the blackberries, and but
I was just gonna say a little bit, only a little
but
bit. You've been playing.
so I've been streaming it a little bit, but what I got from that, like I had a few experiences, playing for a few hours and just getting caught up in it, kind of losing track of time and stuff. But anyways, like the thing I noticed about it when I sat back and looked at it from a mechanical standpoint and how it's different from other MMOs, the thing that I love about it is that because of the mechanics involved, H1Z1 is not about what you get in the game. It's not. Like, even though like you think it's all about the loot, like what loot are you gonna find, how are you gonna survive? Like, it has nothing to do with what your fun is in the game. What your fun is what happens between you and the people that you're running around with or whatever, how you survive, how you end up dying. It's in this journey. It's no longer in the destination. So many MMOs are like, okay, I need to get to X level, I want to unlock X achievement, I want to collect, it's all about this like hoarding or acquiring or achieving, whereas in H1Z1, maybe it's because of the state of the game, maybe it's because of the mechanics, I don't know, but for whatever reason, that doesn't exist. It's not about what you can achieve, it's about like what the journey is, and it's been a lot of fun for me because it's been you hate it too because you get in it and you finally achieve something, you get your backpack, you finally have some guns, and then you just get killed by a bear and you get totally reset and it sucks, but you're like, it creates this new shift and focus onto the journey, the adventure, and you're not paying attention to, okay, what's the end goal, and the end goal is the only thing that matters. Because if you did have that viewpoint, you wouldn't play H1Z1 because you would hate it because, that's going to get reset on you so many times. And it makes me think about the change for EverQuest Next. They want it to be more story-based. They want this dynamic, evolving world where every minute you log in, there's something happening, and you're able to do something impactful at any moment. I have a feeling that we're going to see H1Z1 is like a shade of it. Totally different genre, FPS, like totally different game. But we're seeing this shift where it's changing from something that, it's all about what I can get and what I can afford to what I can do and what the fun I'm having with people on a minute-to-minute basis, or, I don't know. That's something that I wanted to bring up because it's a big part about these games that are making them different. I mean, even Landmark, it's not necessarily about the grand thing that you build or achieve. A lot of it's in who are you building with, what are you doing, who are you caving with, and people aren't used to it. It's hard for people in typical MMOs coming from that mindset to enjoy a game like Landmark or H1Z1 because we're not used to it. So I don't know, I'm just kind of ranting a lot, but that's just my thoughts on what I've played recently.
Vel, the most popular games that exist today don't seem like they are, or the ones for PC anyway, don't seem like they're progression based at all, right? Like, I don't even want to say it because I feel like I don't want to have a biased view on it. Like, what would you say the most popular games in the PC market are right now?
It really depends, but I know if you're looking at indie-wise, what has been bigger in the past 5 years than Minecraft? And what do you achieve in that? Like, there's no long-term progression in Minecraft. It's an experience game that you're experiencing, sharing with other people, short-term survival. That's the one that like comes off the top of my head. I haven't been playing, as a dad of 3 kids and stuff. I haven't bought a lot of the big price tag games out recently, so I don't know, but
the reason I referenced it is because the Minecraft is a huge game, and you're right, it doesn't really have that purpose. Like, I could think of games like World of Tanks. It's a instance-based game. League of Legends, Dota, like all the MOBAs, and then like a lot of the most popular games, let's say on Twitch, Counter-Strike, Go. These are just games in general. What are the most popular? Now, MMOs have always done things a little bit differently. They had that sort of like long-term progression to them, and that's what
I'm going to break in real quick because you're saying MMO, but what you're really talking about is the difference between it. Yeah, RPG.
I'm sorry, an MMORPG. Absolutely, and MMORPGs have always been a little bit different, and why have they been different? I mean, like,
they're RPGs.
But an RPG can still put aspects into it that are essentially.
It has to be story. It has to have story progression, and it has to have character progression.
Story progression, though, is different than, for example, League of Legends has story progression, but
you have to have story
it's an instance-based game.
Character. But does your character progress and keep that persistent progression?
The world does, and that's what I'm trying to say. That the character maybe that's the whole point of what I'm trying to make is that maybe in MMOs we don't need to worry so much about character progression anymore. Instead, we can worry about world progression.
Then it's not an RPG.
Why? Why can't?
If you're playing because that is the purpose. The hero's journey is what RPGs are based on. Taking your character, starting at nothing, which is the kitchen boy, and progressing through the hero's journey to become a more powerful hero, the mage and all that.
There's a way to bring both of your perspectives together.
That's
here.
what I'm trying to.
I agree that what Diggs is saying is the fundamental, but I do believe that in EverQuest Next, the plan is to support more of this in the moment experience-driven gameplay, and all of the little pieces put together. And the big problem that we find with MMORPGs, or maybe not a big problem, but one thing that's lacking in a lot of them is that in-the-moment stuff that the instance-based games have, and that like H1Z1 or other survival games of any kind are about. They're experience-based. It's the culmination of your experience. That's the in-your-face, I'm doing something, and I'm doing something kind of neat. This non-grindy feeling, because that the grind that we associate with MMORPGs is a poor game design problem that we've just accepted for decades, right? When, yes, it is about the hero. It is about you taking your character and growing and becoming better and being able to do new things. But to accept that your in-the-moment experience is boring, bordering painful, is not that's not the future of game development. I don't.
Well, actually, that's one of the things I really like about Landmark is that just going around in the world is exciting. You got heroic movement.
I think going around the world in Landmark is painful, and I think that moving from claim to claim to go visit a claim is it's a grind. I disagree.
I mean, it was more fun before they added death.
That's true.
Well, I think one of the things that when you talk about MMO specifically, if you want to talk about the difference and the problem with MMORPGs, is that when we got to MMORPGs, we went through this crazy. It wasn't just progressing your character to 20, which is what D&D was. It started off with 40. And then you move from 40 to 50 to 60 to 100. And it was never supposed to be that you have this huge one-shot insta-kill thing from your level 100 character to your level 1 character. And where we're going now is, with EverQuest Next, is a kind of bridge between persistent progression and non-persistent progression, in that we have shallow vertical progression, and we'll be redoing that. The progression doesn't stick with the character, it's with the class. And each time you change to a new class, you start back at tier 1, and you got to build back up to tier 5. And that's not going to be a huge amount of time. We're not trying to get to be a demigod with our vertical progression. And that's the difference, in addition to having more emphasis on story with rallying calls and emergent AI and all that stuff. So, but you still have to have the character progression. Well, it's not going to be exactly like a MOBA.
No, of course, because, and that's what I was trying to. I was actually I had a story planned out of how I was going to tell the whole thing, so it would make sense. But of course, like you said, RPG, you need to live in the character, and in fact, it's my favorite thing about an MMO. Personally, I love immersion in the character and that character, living through that character's story. But I think what I was really trying to say is just that, kind of like what Tsagh said, it's really been we've been in a position where your progression of the character, the way that you look at the progression, is always been about you knowing what's going to be coming in the future or what can come in the future, and you planning on attempting to gain those things to progress your character, as opposed to, like, I think Tsagh mentioned this a couple times, like in the moment type of interactions, where it's not so much about what the future of your character holds, it's much more about what's happening at the very moment that you're living within that character. And that is a big difference that we haven't seen in RPGs really yet, that kind of even defines the question that we had before of, like, can this be an MMRV or a virtual MMVR? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
but the difference there is, because we've had that in RPGs, we haven't had it in MMORPGs,
right,
because they're too static. And once they started doing, the way they delivered quests was you knew in advance what loot you were going to get for that. If you're playing D&D, you don't know what loot is going to drop from the mobs that you kill or from the quests that you
Isn't there a book?
There's a book, but it doesn't tell you, you will get this loot after you, this specific loot after you finish the quest.
Okay.
Right. Well, the imagination is the biggest difference. But you have an endless world in D&D, you have an endless world of possibilities because you can imagine. But in a video game, obviously, that hasn't been really that attainable.
We are starting to run towards the end of, I think we're going to end here probably at 8, I believe, because some of us have to go. So I want to move the conversation along a little bit. And actually the next thing I thought we can all talk about, go around, is really the upcoming. We've just spent a long time talking about the past of Landmark, but there are still some things we do not have that we're supposed to be getting. I'm curious sort of what are you looking forward to the most? The things that are promised coming to us, AI tuning, combat improvements, economy, what do you actually look forward to having in the next few months as we continue to go forward? And I guess I can actually start that. For me, in terms of just pure Landmark, I really, and I've talked a lot about this with Diggs, I can't wait for economy. That's where I think I'm really going to get my hands dirty with Landmark, and finding some role and something to do. And we could talk, and we have talked about it over and over, so I'm not going to go through that again. But that for me is the biggest thing I can't wait to see actually get introduced. I'm really curious to see how they do it. But so for me going forward, that's the biggest thing. So what about everyone else?
Do you want to go clockwise on this one?
However you want.
Sure.
Diggs.
I would like to, like I said, get my hands on those themed armor sets, the Gunslinger, the Wasteland Ranger, the High-Tech Brawler, and more weapons, more keywords, and play around with the combat, and story bricks.
All right. Okay, so I guess for me it's just all the game creation tools that we still don't have, but that's a lot of things. That is the story bricks, that is the voxel and mesh stuff, that is creating specific rule sets, having more game type systems, and being able to assign different types of objectives. All of that stuff is really what I've been looking for. And going to a year ago, this was the stuff that I was really excited for. So I'm that's pretty much going forward what I'm excited for over the next 6 months, over the next however long it's going to take to get everything in, getting those things and then making something with it and seeing what everyone else makes with it is going to be fantastic. Noodle.
Well, for me, one of the major things that I would like, since honestly most of what I was looking for in the game is already in there. I'm the artist. I'm not the tech person for all the linking and triggering stuff. Not a lot of the stuff. I'm a builder, but I would really like a little more character creation, aside from maybe just human, maybe cool costume outfits, stuff like that, because frankly I don't really feel much of an attachment to my character because I don't like being human in games. And other than that, just the rest of the art assets that they're want to give us, things like however they do it, but the ability to make props, more textures, just all of that wonderful, neat stuff. I think Geo's next.
Sure. Great. Well, yeah. Usually I wait for the prompt. I don't want to be rooting. I don't want the William Shatner pauses have been pretty long sometimes. I just want to make sure. So
Whatever.
So like, really the same things as Noodlecat. But in a little bit different ways. Like I really want to feel immersed in my character through storyline. Like I want to be able to log in and feel like I can go do something that my character will have an effect or a place to put his character, his like what makes him into the world and actually see some change, whether that's through player made story bricks dungeons or whether it's through actual like stuff to happen in the game. And then I guess I don't know when that's coming, but I guess story bricks is supposed to be coming soon. And then I would just really like for combat to kind of round out in a way that it's. I actually the most balanced. I think that the most balanced it was when they gave us the 3 weapons, and that was when it was the most playable for me. And now every time I log in, I just feel like it's so unfair because every time one of the weapons has just really been blowing things out of the water with a certain build now, especially with the armor. Like I can't wait for a time where I can log in and actually be creative with the items and the weapons and have that all balanced and ready to go, so I can have fun with combat.
What do I want for Landmark moving forward? I want.
Oh.
Is that
I totally know what it is. You want claims to not be a thing, and people can build all the way across.
I was not. It comes from the same place in my heart as that problem, but I was not going to say that. No, I've already said that. That's my. That was my I'm talking to a genie wish. Assuming that I am on my claim and I'm building an experience for other people, I want interaction with the voxel engine to be a part of that experience. So I want skills. Now, I'm looking forward to the idea that apart from a staff blasting a circular hole in a wall, I'm looking forward to player abilities that take advantage of the fact that it's a voxel world. I want things that create a barrier. I want things that, manipulate the environment more. That one of the coolest things about Landmark is the world that everything exists in. And so if anybody has seen Code Spells, it's a Kickstarter project, I believe. Mr. Pound Sign has been pretty supportive of that, if you guys know him. This idea that the player interaction can really change the environment, and I'm looking forward to how that could be implemented better, and that's something that I believe will happen. So that's not my I want
But
a
wait, but
design.
expand on that a little bit more, because people haven't seen Cold Spells. So talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Well, in Code Spells, you design an ability that actually affects the environment. So imagine if you had the staff and one of your abilities was plant the staff in the ground, and it would actually create ripples in the floor that knocked people down when those ripples collided with a player model. Imagine if you were some sort of earth mage and you lift your arm like this and it puts a voxel barrier in front of you, of them. So like people are coming at you, you could block them. If someone is jumping across a ravine to come get you, you just block their path. better hope your grappling hook's not on cooldown because you're just falling because your path got blocked. And this, the true voxelmancy. I want the voxel building and the voxel manipulation to be a real part of the game. And right now, I feel like we have an almost okay adventure and crafting game that, with some good ideas, and we know that's going to get better, and I don't want to be judging it as a finished product, but we have this awesome building mini game that occurs on your claims, and I want that all brought together. And one of the things that I can really see is that player skill is doing more than just, a little bit of voxel destruction. Then voxel manipulation should be a core part of everything that we do. Felix.
Since lore has no place in Landmark right now, I'm going to jump kind of, it's Tsagh going before me is actually kind of perfect. I think linking and triggering is amazing in the fact that it's like already dwarfed Redstone, but the one thing holding it back that Redstone has, that linking and triggering doesn't, is Redstone has pistons that allow you to physically manipulate the voxel world. As of right now, there's nothing in linking and triggering that lets you change your claim, by using some automated process and, incorporating that into some user interactive experience when somebody steps into an area, etc. But anyways, I was actually going to go a totally different direction from that, but that ties into it. It could tie into it because mine is a lot more general. It's not a specific feature. What I want and what I'm hoping, the most upcoming feature that I would look at, I don't care which one it is, but I want players to be on top of each other for a reason. Like, I want players to have a reason to interact, to do things together, some meaningful drive or reward or purpose in the game that's going to cause people to play together more than what already exists. Like, I get people can go caving together, people can build together, there's things, and it's improving, and we're in an early phase. But whatever the next feature is that's going to dramatically increase players interacting with each other and players having a meaning to do things cooperatively together, or, conflicting against one another, depending on what they go with that, either one of those, I want to see whatever the next feature is going to significantly impact that aspect of the game. Because I think that, of anything that we can say about Landmark's cohesive gameplay experience right now, if anything is lacking out of all of it, I think it's the, MMO, the one thing that you go to when you go to an MMO, you want to play with other people. And right now in Landmark, unless you're specifically playing with a group of friends you already have made within the community from interacting or something else like that, you're generally not logging into Landmark and bumping into people and playing and, having a meaningful experience that's driven by the gameplay. It's just only if you're, externally motivated to go create that. So I want to see that change. Whatever feature, makes the biggest impact on that, that's what I want to see next. So, and I will pass to Boro.
Okay, well, people talked a lot, so I had a long time to think about this. But I remember Dave saying, I forgot what it was on, but he said, people don't believe us, but you're really going to be able to do anything you want. And it ties into the whole, virtual reality idea, where instead of it being virtual reality where you literally feel like you're in it, it's virtual reality because it mimics reality so closely. And I really want that to happen in Landmark, because I think we don't know 100% what Dave even means when he says, you're going to be able to do anything you want. And I want it to be true, I really do. The other thing I was going to say was that I want the world outside of where people are building, so that includes the caves and the overworld and stuff like that, to be interesting and a place that you would want to explore. Whereas right now, it's just where you go to click on trees and click on patches of copper and fight monsters that aren't very interesting. The monsters are going to get better. But I want there to be more stuff to do and have that feel more like a fleshed out world where there is meaningful things to do, whereas now it's super boring.
All right. Phantomix then. Wait, did Phantomix already?
I started the question.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, did everyone get a chance on that? I think so. I think it's probably about time that we start the wrap-up process then. It is almost 8 p.m. or 11 p.m. for some folks, or whatever time p.m. it is for you folks all around the world celebrating 1 year of Landmark. So, on that, I think it's about time to start doing the final wrap-ups, who everybody is, where you can find us, starting with Noodlecat and just going clockwise.
Well, I am the Noodle Cat. So, hi and bye. I'm sorry, I was typing for part of that. You guys all know me. I'm a landmark builder. That's pretty much what I do. So, you can find me around, and now you guys can actually port to me. Now that the whole like secret surprise trophy building for the devs is done.
Cool. All right.
So, on to the next person.
Geo.
Sure. Well, I am a live streamer. My name is Giovanni, and I will be soon. I'm really just as bad. I will be soon TM live streaming on the internet. I actually Viz Gaming is my Twitch. If you want to go check it out, I'll actually go ahead and throw the link in chat. And I actually currently play League of Legends very frequently, but I am a big fan of Landmark and the concept behind it, and I look forward to promoting Landmark, and definitely going to be jumping full force into EverQuest next when that game is released as well. I'm going to throw this out there. Like, I am in desperate need of somebody who has any experience with audio, with like audio engineering, that when it comes to like applying to computers. So if anybody out there is looking to help somebody, I'm just like, this is like my Craigslist ad. So anyway,
Nice.
yeah, that's all about me. And thanks of course to, I'm sure on behalf of everybody, but definitely I wanted to say thanks to Morgard and Pentapod and Amaris and anybody else who I missed who was here in the chat and helping support what we do here with TheoryForge.
All right then. Moving it.
Me. Hey, I'm Tsagh. Thanks for hanging out on my channel. Thanks for coming to TheoryForge. Most of the time hosted by either Viz Gaming or Legendary Neurotoxin. Don't forget to make sure that you're following them. I want to thank everybody for coming, and the developers as well. I had been and will continue to be active in the gaming world, but I've been studying real hard recently and loving the hell out of it, so I'm not stopping that. If anyone doesn't know already, I have opinions and I like to share them. If you would like to have a conversation, I'm available on Twitter. Send me an email, whatever. Set up a time we can get on a live stream and talk together. I'm cool with that too. Again, thanks for coming. I really appreciate everyone being here. I'm in the process of looking for a raid target. So we got an hour before the official Landmark Live 9 p.m. wrap-up. So if anybody in here has an idea, just to let me know. I am out of ideas. So,
What?
Yeah.
hey, I'm actually asking people that I know to switch over and stream Landmark right now.
Wait, did I hear that right? You said you're out of ideas.
Not opinions.
It was a
Ideas
metaphor.
for raid targets.
We're
I am
gonna
not
have
out
this
of
on
opinions.
replay, right? Replay, record. Yeah, we can
Just
replay
cut
that
out
to
this
later.
highlight of Tsagh, I'm out of ideas, and upload it to YouTube.
Okay, I've got a target. I got a target. No
Alright.
worries.
All right. So then, Velix, moving on to you.
Yes, I am writing heavily for 10 Ton Hammer right now, and I actually did a lot of stuff on EQ Hammer this week, you know. Landmark anniversary, go figure. So I talked a little bit about that, but I do want to say thank you. I recognize a lot of names in the chat. but there also have been a lot of names I don't recognize. So for all the new people, may have been your first time watching this show. Come back again. We do this type of thing constantly in the future, every Friday. It's a fun time. We have a random selection of the 8 hosts you see before you. We kind of spin a wheel of death and see who survives, and that's kind of how the selection process goes. No. But anyways, we have a good time, so come back. We have a lot of fun. And if you guys don't follow any of us on Twitter, everybody here pretty much uses Twitter fairly actively. I'm kind of a Twitter fiend. That's probably the normal place you're going to find me and interact with me. So follow me. But I am not as much of a Twitter fiend as the next person who will follow me up.
Hi guys. So like I was saying in chat, I have a Twitter. I tweet about a lot of things, but some of it is video game things, because I'm very interested in design stuff now. And I have a blog where I talk about that stuff too. So I mainly want people to follow my Twitter so that they can give me their opinions, because I need that stuff and I find it interesting. But I also do makeup and I complain about my school. Although there's been a lot less screaming this Friday night than most Friday nights. I live with 7 other girls. And I used to stream, but I don't do that as much anymore. You can still follow me on Twitch if you feel like it. And like every once in a while I do things. And that's pretty much me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Omid versus the Plane Beast. That was the project you were working on, right?
Yeah, I have a game about Omid, sort of about Omid. I wanted to just make a game really quickly, which didn't turn out to be quick at all, in Construct 2, because you don't have to do any programming. And I was like, I'll do all of the assets myself, like I'll draw everything myself. And I asked Omid if I could use his likeness in the game, and I drew his little head, and there was sort of a body too at first. And so I have this interesting game mechanic that I don't know if it's been done before, but I think it's kind of fun. And a lot of things have been happening, so I haven't been able to do it. But yeah, I also try to make games. I'm just not super successful at it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter too. That's where you're going to mostly find me. EQ Nexus still exists. It's still there. It'll always be there. I will never close it. It's really there for whatever anybody wants it to be, as long as it's somehow related to EverQuest. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for being here.
Very cool. Diggs.
You can mostly find me in the forums. You can find me on Twitter. Right now, in-game, I'm focusing on newbie progression. Went through all the achievements that they gave us. That was kind of fun. And waiting for more. Hopefully we'll get more next week. Yeah, it's been fun. Another great year. Hopefully we'll have for Landmark, and by this time next year we'll be starting to see more of EQ Next.
Absolutely. I'm going to be looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to get back together for the 2-year next year. But as for this one, I'm really been having a blast hanging out with everybody. Of course, Legendary Neurotoxin, I stream not as much as I used to, but I still do stream live feature rant on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. is the start time for that show. On Sundays, there is Content and Creations, formerly Castles and Crap Shacks, which runs from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is usually followed by the Evercast show, which is the longest running talk show for EverQuest Next and Landmark, and I love those folks. And aside from that, you can find me in game, Neurotoxin. You can find me on Twitter. As for what I do and why I'm not streaming as much, on one hand, I like to say I work for the competition, because I kind of do. But on the other hand, this is the year of the sandbox, so I'd really like to think that what I'm doing and what Landmark's doing, what all the sandbox game developers are doing right now, isn't necessarily a competition so much as kind of a competitive collaboration in the space of sandboxes to see just what we can achieve this year. So that's something you might have heard from me last year, calling this the year of the sandbox. I'm still holding to that, and I'm really excited to see what happens this year. On that, passing it back to you, Tsagh, to send us off.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you, Amneris, and the rest of the SOE team for hosting us on the official channel. I've got a good friend who I met playing Landmark, who was streaming some H1Z1, but switched over. He's playing some Landmark now, doing some building. His name is Original Lord Drow, and let's all give him a good TheoryForge hello. Stop in, say hi, he's a good guy, and we'll all see you guys in about an hour on the official Landmark channel. So thank you very much, and have a great night.